going to be so interesting to see what happens over the next few years. People starting to discover truths. Here's us for the last 20 years, conspiracy theorists digging in the mine. Yeah, we've just been out here getting banned. Most people think we're crazy, although in the last few years, people are starting to realize that we were right. So it's going to be interesting. It's amazing too how like counterculture has changed over the years. Back in the 1980s, there's a bunch of punk rockers with like anarchist logos talk about how they were counter to the system, they don't like the system. Here's counterculture in 2022, a regular guy with a wife and kids. That's amazing how it's all changed. And in some ways, I've been kind of like, I was never a punk rocker anarchist guy. I've actually always been like more like they used to call us preppies back in the 80s. You know, I'd dress nice, I'd always have money because I'd always be working and creating things. So I was never like this punk rock style anarchist, although I loved when rap first came out and it was hardcore rap, like KRS-One, like I'm a philosopher. I was that kind of anarchist back then, but I didn't even know I was an anarchist. I didn't know I was an anarchist till the year 2001, I believe, when I had dinner with Doug Casey for the first time in Vancouver. And he used that Socratic method to just ask me questions. And he eventually got me to the point where he said I was an anarchist. And 20 years ago, I didn't even know what the word really meant. I actually said to him, I said, what, like those people who riot and throw bombs? He's like, that's not what an anarchist is. And ever since then, I've basically been like that. But it's amazing now. I'm basically like married. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink this year, by the way. And the last drink I had was on New Year's Day of this year. I was still up from New Year's Eve. And the last thing I remember is Max Egan stuffing a weed brownie the size of a baseball into my mouth, and I haven't had a drink since. Yeah, I don't know how related that is to like all my changes in the last year, but it definitely had something to do with it. Maybe if Max wasn't there with that weed brownie, I would have just kept drinking till I died. I said that night I was going to drink until I died. I get into those moods when I drink. It's funny how things just happen for a reason, right? Like Max, all of a sudden, I didn't really know him that well. Then he's living in my house, and then I'm drinking, and then I'm getting depressed. He stuffs a weed brownie in my mouth, and I haven't drank all year. I've just been working and spending tons of time with the family and the dogs. And, you know, I wouldn't have had that baby, I don't think. No, there's no way if I was still drinking. It's a lot of stuff. If you haven't had a kid, it's a lot of stuff. And you gotta be ready for it. Like your life gets turned over to the baby for like, you know, the first year for sure. But to me, it's been awesome. But it's amazing. Like that's basically what I'm counterculture now. I'm like married. I don't drink. I just had a kid. That's, you know, we're gonna be living on a ranch, growing our own food. That's like the punk rock anarchist now. Yeah, well, who is it? Those guys with their song, I'm not gonna do what you tell me. Those punk rock anarchists all want you to get lethally injected now. They all went from do what they tell you, I won't do what you tell me, to do what they tell you. It's amazing. It's amazing how people get corrupted. Like that was the sort of like punk rock anarchist types in like the 90s. And I used to love that song, by the way. And now I can't even listen to it because they've turned into, it's amazing how people turn into the things they hate. It's incredible. That's a whole other topic for another video. This video's gone on way too long. But yeah, I'm like the counterculture now. We're just gonna be living on a ranch, growing organic food, having babies, married. Might have a harem, but that's a, you know, that's just like, yeah, everyone can have dreams, right? So in that sense, I might not be exactly what, you know, just the stay-at-home dad sort of thing, but I'll do it my own way, right, Lucy?